Okay, welcome back to another week of Tehillim, and we are moving along. We're already holding by Pei Vav, number 86. So 86 means that we only have 64 more Tehillim to go. That's not bad. It's taken us about 7 years to go through 86, so we're holding by about another 6 years or so of Tehillim, Bez Hashem, Im Yetz Hashem. By then Mashiach should be here from all the Tehillim that we said. Okay, we're starting with 86, number Pei Vav, and as we normally do, we go through the introduction of Rabbi Foyer, and this is really a spectacular Tehillim over here. It's not very long, but it is extremely dense, and there are a lot of important ideas that we have to learn here. So maybe it'll take us a few weeks to go through this in the proper way. He writes over here that Dovid HaMelech, it describes this not as the regular, and usually it's Mizmor LeDavid, a song for David, LeDavid Mizmor, to David it's a song, but over here he says Tefillah LeDavid. This particular Tehillim is described as a tefillah, as a prayer itself. And as we're going to see as we go along, he's quoting here from Rav Hirsch, we'll see Rav Hirsch on the inside, but the essential purpose of tefillah, of our prayers, is not so much to obtain the desired assistance from Hashem, meaning when you pray, you don't have in mind that it must be that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to answer my tefillahs, my prayers. Rather, it's an assurance that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is near at all moments of distress and danger. Am I davening because I'm banking on the fact that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is listening and He's going to answer my prayers? Or am I davening because this is the way that I connect to Hashem, and I know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is right here, He is listening to me, and He's with me every single step of the way. And therefore he writes that the awareness of Hashem's intimate concern and close attention to a person's troubles is itself a response to the supplication. Just knowing that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is listening. You know, ladies, like when you have a hard day and you come home and you need to vent, and you vent to your husbands. Now you're not asking your husband to say a single word. All you want him to do is listen. And the fact that they are listening to the hard day that you had and the stress that you went through and the breakdown, whatever took place, just the fact that they listen to what you have to say without even offering their suggestions and their advice, and they're going to solve the problem, just knowing that they're listening is already part of the healing. It's part of feeling better that Baruch Hashem, someone is out there and listening to what I have to say. Says Rav Hirsch, when we daven, we are coming to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we don't always know that He's going to answer our tefillahs. We don't always know that the answer is going to be yes. Sometimes the answer is no, as we're going to see. But just knowing that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is sitting there and He's listening to everything that we say, and He's nodding His head, yes, and He doesn't say a word, but he listens, and He accepts, and He hears, that itself is all part of the reason that we supplicate, that we daven to Hashem. Now, as we'll see in the Malbim, the reason that Dovid HaMelech wrote these words of Tehillim is because he's asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu to save him from his many enemies that he had in life. And as we've seen throughout the years and throughout the pages of Tehillim, Dovid HaMelech had many, many enemies at all sides, even in his own house. His own son turned on him and tried to kill him and destroy him and take away his kingdom. So Dovid HaMelech was not a stranger to hardships. He was not a stranger to enemies that were hunting him down. He was left to die in the forests and caves. He had kings of the world and Jewish people turning on him. And so therefore he wrote this tefillah, this prayer, as we will see the power of what a prayer can do to rescue him from all of the enemies that he has. Now he says over here an important point, and that is that Dovid HaMelech was not only asking that he should be saved from the enemies. Rather, he was saying, save me from the enemies because I have so much more that I need to accomplish in my life. If you will allow me to live, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so then I will be able to fulfill my ultimate purpose, and that is to be Mekadosh Shem Shemaim, to sanctify the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and bring you glory here in this world. So when I daven for something, I'm not davening selfishly. I want this thing to take place. Save me from the sickness. Rescue me from the poverty. Make sure that I have this, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's not for me. If you take care of my needs and you give me the things that I am desiring, then I will be satisfied in that area, and then I will be able to serve you much better, Hashem. So this is a kavanah, this is an intention that a person has to keep in mind when they are davening. It's not for myself. It's for you. And therefore, if this struggle will be taken care of, or this lacking will be filled, then I can serve you better, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that's ultimately what we're here in this world to do. That's the introduction. We're going to start with Rav Hirsch. There's really so many mefarshim to see today. I don't know how far we're going to get, but we're going to try to do our best. Rav Hirsch writes like this: Tefillah LeDovid means a prayer by Dovid. It's not a prayer that's coming, it's not a tefillah that's coming from David HaMelech in his own personal life, only for his personal life, but it has a much broader significance, says Rav Hirsch. And that is that, as he's going to explain. First of all, he writes, Tefillah LeDovid, a prayer by Dovid. Hate Hashem aznecha, Hashem, bend your ear, incline your ear, aneni, and answer me, ki ani ve'evyain ani, because I am poor, and evyain, I am defenseless. Says Rav Hirsch, whenever we see the words ani ve'evyain, poor and defenseless, when it's used in the Sefer Tehillim, so it's not talking only about Dovid HaMelech. It's referring to all of Klal Yisrael, who is in a position of dependence. We are dependent on HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and there's a certain weakness that we have when we are in the Golus, in the exile, and it refers to the nation in general, but also to every single Jew in their life. And we already noted, says Rav Hirsch, that even though that the Tehillim seemed to be originally written for the life of an individual, which is primarily Dovid HaMelech, but again, as we pointed out from the very beginning, Dovid HaMelech went through the suffering of every single Jew that would ever be in this world of all of history. So that means that when he writes about his suffering, what he's going through, the troubles that he has in his life, he has you in mind as well. But on a larger scale, it's referring to the entire nation of Klal Yisrael. And it's been, how do we know that? Because as we find throughout davening and throughout our prayers and everything, these words are encapsulated inside of our prayers. And he writes like this, and this is the important part, that this particular Tehillim, it expresses something that is very fundamental in the goal of what prayer should be. And again, like we mentioned in the introduction, it's not that I'm trying to make sure that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to answer everything that I asked for, but rather I'm being reassured that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is near me in my times of trouble. I'm not alone. A Jew is never alone. I can open my mouth anywhere, anytime, any day, any place, and I can talk to Hashem. In the Parsha last week, before Yitzchak and Rivka meet for the first time, it says, Vayetze Yitzchak lasuach basadeh. Yitzchak went out to lasuach, to speak in the field. And Rashi writes over there, the language of lasuach, speaking, is a language of tefillah, of davening to Hashem. And he quotes a pasuk over there that shows us that Yishbaich Sicha, pour out your Sicha, your words, your prayers to Hashem. Now Sicha is also a discussion, as a conversation. The way that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to be able to daven and speak to Him is the same way that you will speak to the person that you are sitting next to. The same way that you come home after a long day and you sit down at the table and you have a shmooze, a conversation with your husband, and it's not loud and it's not wild. It's just a simple conversation where you are expressing that which is on your mind and in your heart. That's the way that a person talks to Hashem. I don't have to be in shul. I don't have to be in a minyan. I don't have to get myself completely all together to be able to have the greatest kavanas intentions in the world. I just have to open my mouth and my heart and speak to Hashem naturally, the way that I would speak to anyone else. And that's why Rav Roba writes in the Ali Shor the following idea. In all of our relationships, the people that are on a hierarchy from us, in our Torah world, someone's a Rebbe, someone is a Rebbitzin, someone is an elder, we usually speak to them in third person. Can I get the Rebbitzin a glass of water? Can I hold the door for the Rebbe? Can I do this for the Rav? What can I do? I don't speak to them directly. I speak to them in third person. That is called the proper honor and respect that we give to a higher level person. The greatest entity and being in the world is the Ribono Shel Olam. He's the Melech Malchei HaMelachim, is the King of all kings. If you would go to speak to a king, you would say, Your Highness, you speak to him in third person. When you're coming to Hashem, we would assume you speak out, I would say, please, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Master of the universe, listen to my tefillos. Please, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Master of heaven and earth, please reward me with a refuah shlema, whatever it is that a person is asking for. But we all know the brachas. Baruch Atah Hashem. Blessed are you, Hashem. To a Rebbitzin, you have to talk to her in third person. To the Rav, you have to speak in third person. In some people's homes, children to the parents, they speak in third person. But to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's first person. Blessed are you. Says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, yes. Because I'm not as far away as you think that I am. I'm right here. And if you open your mouth and you just talk to me and you tell me what's on your mind and the pain that is in your heart and the struggles that you're going through, and you pour out yishba'ich sichai, you pour out your conversation, your prayers to me, I hear everything, says Hashem. And that, says Rav Hirsch, is one of the greatest aspects of tefillah. It's not so much of what the response is going to be. It is merely knowing that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is right here, right now, listening. He's with me, He's holding me, He's walking me along, and therefore I'm not all by myself. And he says this thought is applicable to the individual situation and the calling of Dovid, as well as the sufferings of Klal Yisrael. So each individual has their own relation with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and therefore when I need him, I just call out to him. I can call out to Hashem all day long. And Klal Yisrael, the Jewish people as well, we have a historical mission that we are trying to accomplish and achieve, and it remains unaltered through all the difficulties of history. And one of the main stays of Klal Yisrael in all generations is we never stop davening to Hashem. It's interesting to note that when Klal Yisrael was in Mitzrayim, and we were enslaved for 210 years already of back-breaking labor, we had assimilated, we were following the Avodah Zarah of the Egyptians, we were not living the life that the Jewish people are supposed to lead. There was one schus, there was one merit that saved us, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu eventually decided, I'm going to take the Jewish people out of Mitzrayim and bring them the greatest geula, the greatest redemption that has ever been seen. And that is Vayomas Melech Mitzrayim, the day that the king of Egypt died. And all of the Jewish people there was no work on that day. The country closes down, as it does when the dignitary of that country dies. They don't have to go out into the fields and work. There was nobody beating them with whips, no taskmasters. So what did they do on that day? Immediately they gathered together, and they cried out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in tefillah. And the pasuk says, "V'yodas Hashem." Hashem said, "That's Klal Yisrael." After hundreds and hundreds of years of forgetting about me, now they're calling out to me in prayer. That's what a Jew is. That's what's still underneath all the exterior. They're still the Jewish people. I'm going to rescue them and save them. And therefore a Jew should never forget the power of tefillah that we have in our mouths, what we could accomplish with every single prayer, even if you don't get an answer or you don't get what you want. Just knowing that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is listening to you, that itself is already part of the healing. It's part of the chizuk, the strength. It gives a person the ability to move forward every single day. Says Rav Hirsch another important point, and that is that although the word tefillah we translate as prayer, it doesn't really mean prayer. Sorry to burst your bubble. It doesn't really mean. It's a language of hispalel, and hispalel really means an exercise of one going into their inner self, which is thereby penetrated anew by the perception and acknowledgement of certain truths that our judgment and evaluation of things may become more correct. It's a reflexive word that causes a person to go inside of themselves and recognize things that they never recognized before. Prayer is supposed to be a moment of truth. It is not just saying the words that are in the siddur and repeating them over and over and over again. Prayer is something that makes a person go inside, think, see things about themselves, recognize and come to amazing conclusions about HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the way that He runs the world. And then in that way, my prayers, which eventually what we're trying to do, will be carried up higher. So it's not only prayer. Prayer is only when you're thinking, which is an important thing. Many of us daven out of Sidurim that maybe are Hebrew or English, but we don't really look at the English very often, and then you have no idea what you're saying. So then how's that prayer? Prayer is only if you're thinking and you're aware and you're understanding what it is, the words that you are saying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It is very important, to the best of our abilities, that a person has at least a basic understanding of the words that are coming out of their mouth, so they can connect on a deeper level with those words, so that their mind is working as they're going through the prayers, so that they're getting deeper and deeper inside of themselves, uncovering truths about the nature of their neshama, of their soul, of their heart, of their mind, of their goals, of their aspirations. They're having a greater awareness and a recognition of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and then the words of tefillah, of prayer, can be uttered in the right way. As we're going to see, there's many different levels of prayer. And very often we wonder to ourselves, I'm praying all these years, Hashem doesn't answer my prayers. I don't understand. We're going to see that there's basic level, and then there's much, much deeper levels that a person can accomplish. Rav Hirsch is writing over here that if you are thinking about what you are saying, if you have a self-awareness that you didn't have before Shacharis, or an awareness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that you didn't have before Mincha, or an understanding of your mission that you didn't have before Mariv, because you were thinking and thinking and thinking, now you see something differently. That's really what prayer is all about. And then he says like this, if you look inside of your Tehillim, you'll see that very interestingly, it says, Dovid hate Hashem aznecha. Now, the word hate, which means incline, Hashem is God, oznecha, your ear, you'll see that there's a sign that looks like this. On top of hate is on top, and by Hashem oznecha, it's on the bottom. What are those signs? Says Rav Hirsch, those three marks are joining the phrase in the following way. And that is, hear me by inclining your ear, Hashem. My awareness that you hear my words will itself be the redemption for me. Just knowing that you're listening to me, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I feel better already. And it's sufficient for me to know that you know that I'm suffering, and you are aware of how I bear my troubles and how I comprehend them. And this is something that should give a person a lot of hope in their tefillahs. We're so often davening because we're banking on the fact that Hashem is going to give us what we're asking for. And we daven, and we get so discouraged when the answer is not coming. We daven for this, 1 year, it doesn't come. We daven for 3 days in a row, and we expect magic to happen, and nothing changed. Says the verse, that's not why you're davening. That is not why you're davening. You're davening just to know that HaKadosh Baruch is listening to you, and He sees that the way that you are taking care of your struggles in life is, I turn it all to you, Hashem. I recognize it's all you, and I turn my heart and my soul and my words and my mouth, it's all to you, Ribbono Shel Olam. And since I know that you know how I'm bearing my troubles, how I'm dealing with everything, that itself is consolation, and that is redeeming, and that already is taking me out of the realm of confusion or difficulty or anxiety or worry, whatever it might be, and it's bringing me closer to you. That's why we daven. When you finish davening, you should feel better than you did when you started. If you come into a Shemona Esrei and you're nervous, by the end of the Shemona Esrei, you should be relaxed and calm. If you're sitting by yourself in your house and you feel the world has come crumbling down on top of you, and you begin calling out to Hashem, by the time that you finish your conversation with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you should feel, menuchas hanefesh. I feel much more at peace with myself. Because I'm at peace with Hashem. Because I know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you're right here, Hashem. Tefillah is supposed to relax a person. It brings you closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It relaxes your amunah and your bitachon. It comes into play, and you're connected to Hashem. Whenever we are connected to Hashem, that's the greatest menuchas hanefesh that a person can have. And therefore, that's how Rav Hirsch begins his explanation over here. The next pasuk, Shoma nafshi, guard my soul. Ki chassid ani, because I am a chassid. I'm a pious person, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and I'm dedicating myself to you. Hoy shavdecha ata Elokai habeitech elecha. You, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, help your servant who trustingly looks to you. So now, on one hand, David HaMelech just finished saying that he's ani ve'evyon. He's poor, he's defenseless, he's lowly, he's humble. And now he's saying, but I'm a chassid, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now chassid, as we discussed many times, is a greater level than a tzaddik. So which one is David HaMelech? Is he the lowly, destitute, poor man who is humbled, as himself calls himself, dust of the earth? Or is David HaMelech the great chassid that is warranted to be able to say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you should guard my soul, Hashem, because look at everything that I've accomplished. Says Rav Hirsch, chassid is a selfless man who does not assert his own rights, his own advantages, and his own personality. In short, he's one who gives himself up entirely. David HaMelech was a chassid. He gave himself up entirely for the Ribbono Shel Olam. Whatever HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted him to do, David HaMelech did. He didn't ask for his own needs. He didn't look for his own things that he wanted in this world. Whatever the Ribbono Shel Olam wants, that's what I'm willing to do. So chassid itself, the way that Rav Hirsch is defining it, is also a tremendous level of humility. You cannot be a chassid, you cannot be this person of piety unless you are humble to say, I'm giving over everything to you. Which just, by the way, chassid comes from the word chesed. So what is chesed? Chesed is when I'm willing to give over everything to another person without my own motives or my own intentions in mind. It's all, what can I do for this person over here? That's the ultimate chesed. Eliezer was sent to look for a wife for Yitzchak. The test that he had to put Rivka through was, what is her level of chesed? How is she doing good for others? Does she take herself into consideration? or she only wants what is best for another person. And she passed with flying colors. She took care of so many things, so many different layers of chesed were involved in just giving drink to him and to the camels and providing them with what they needed. It was all chesed. She's a little girl, she's a young girl, she's working very hard. She had to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. She didn't care. Chesed. Chesed is, I just give up for myself and I do for the other person. So on one hand, Dovid HaMelech is the chassid who gives up totally, selflessly, entirely, he just gives up himself. But at the same time, he says, you should save your servant. You appointed me to be your servant, and therefore I need you to help me. I'm willing to give up everything, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but I'm your servant. And as your servant, I need to be able to serve you. So therefore, if I'm missing something in life, if I'm lacking something in life, if I need to be saved from my enemies so that I can serve you better, or my woes or my troubles so I can serve you, Hashem, the way that you want me to, so then you need to be able to rescue me, so that I should be able just to give all of my energy and all of my focus directly to you. Grant me this existence which I need in order to properly discharge my duties of service. So Dovid HaMelech on one hand said, I'm a chassid, I'm mavata myself. I completely give myself up to you. But I'm your servant. And in order to serve you, I need everything in place so the service can be in the right way. And therefore Dovid HaMelech on one hand is the most humble of all men. On the other hand, he's the chassid, he is the man of piety, which is stemming from his humility. And on the third vein, he is the Eved Hashem. I am your true servant, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And being your true servant means, give me what to do. If I'm being chased by my enemies, if the world is crashing down on me, how can I serve you, Hashem? Well, I can't do everything I want to do. When a person is sick, they know. You can't serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the same way. You have a headache, you have a fever, you have a cough, you're achy, you're cranky, you're this. You can't daven the same way. You can't do mitzvahs the same way. You can't do chesed the same way. You're stuck in the house. How can you go do chesed? So HaKadosh Baruch Hu, rescue me from all these things so that I could serve you in the way that an Eved, that a servant of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to do. And if, as he writes over here, Elokai habayteich elecha, I'm the one who trustingly, I have bitachon, I have trust and reliance upon you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Says Rav Hirsch, HaKadosh Baruch, I trust in you for everything that you've done for me in the past, and therefore I know that you are with me, I know that you're holding my hand, I know that you're taking care of everything, and therefore, just like previously you have taken care of me, I'm trusting in you right now for the future, that even if the help is far off in the distant, I trust and I look to you with confidence, and I know that the help will come at the right time. Now, just as Rav Hirsch said, just davening to Hashem, that's already help. That's already bitachon of itself. I know that Hashem is listening. I know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu cares. I know that He has mercy. I know that He wants to answer. I know that if it's the right thing, He is going to answer me in the right way. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I've been through this before. Nobody, it's not my first time around the block over here, says Dovid HaMelech. I davened to you many, many times before, and you come to my aid and my rescue. And therefore I trust and I rely on you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This time also, you're going to come at the right time. Doesn't always work on our agenda. Doesn't always work on our time frame, and which it makes it hard for people. We're very impatient in this generation, so we expect things like right now. I was at a restaurant not so long ago. There was like nobody in the restaurant besides my wife and myself and one of my sons. And it took them like a half an hour, 40 minutes to serve us. And I said, now I know why there's nobody else in this restaurant. Who wants to eat in a restaurant where it takes 40 minutes to get served? So I was making jokes. Maybe they had to go to the farm and they had to get the eggs from the chicken. And what's taking so long? It says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, just be patient. Not everything comes exactly when you want it. This salvation, Mashiach, we're waiting Mashiach 2,000 years. People are getting antsy, they're getting frustrated, they want Mashiach. Okay, at the right time is going to come. So too in everybody's life, there is moments that we want HaKadosh Baruch Hu to come and answer, as Hashem says, at the right time. Just keep working on your bitachon, on your trust in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and when that time comes, Hashem is going to answer you. Rav Gamliel Rabinovich writes over here the following idea. This concept of the ani ve'evyon, ani. I am poor and destitute. Since that Dovid HaMelech recognized that he was impoverished and he's a destitute and he's not in a good place, he's not in good shape. He's not saying, he's saying, I am so poor in my good deeds, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And this is Dovid HaMelech. We're in big trouble, okay? Dovid HaMelech said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I am impoverished in my good deeds. In my learning of Torah, in my Yiras Shamayim, in my Emunah, in my Bitachon, in my Chesed, in my Mitzvahs, in my Shabbos, in my Yom Tov. I'm an Ani HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What can I offer you? Not much. And therefore, since that I am so poor in all of these areas, I don't merit anything. I'm not worthy of anything, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And in the merit of Dovid HaMelech recognizing his lowliness, he asked HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please incline your ear and listen to my request. Dovid HaMelech said, what do I have? Nothing. I'm nothing, says Dovid HaMelech. What's the pasuk over there? It says, I'm just a worm. I'm nothing, says Dovid HaMelech. What am I? Nothing. I learned whatever I learned. Okay, whatever I did. But I have nothing. I could have done so much more, because that's the way that tzaddikim think. Tzaddikim always think, whatever I did, fine, but there's so much more that I could do. If I did this much, how much more I could have done. Like the Ramban writes in the famous letter that he wrote to his son, that a person always has to be humble before other people. And if you see somebody that's clearly lowlier than you in the way that they do what they do, the way they do things, so you say, well, that's him. And therefore, Hashem doesn't expect much of him. But what about me? HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave me this brain, and He gave me this neshama, and He gave me this heart, and He gave me these abilities. How much more does Hashem expect of me? So therefore, He's doing what He's supposed to do, because that's all that He has. Me, I should have done so much more. And therefore, I'll always be humble before another person. Dovid HaMelech says, in the schos of my humility, that I recognize I'm not worthy of you answering me, Hashem, I realize I need a miracle over here. Please answer me. From here we learn a tremendous foundation. If a person holds of themselves as being poor and destitute in maisim tovim, in deeds, and they recognize I'm not worthy of HaKadosh Baruch Hu answering me. I don't deserve any salvation over here. I'm not such a tzaddik that I deserve that. You're able to ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu, shebeschus shiflus ruchai, in the merit of my humble and lowly spirit, yishma lakol tfilasai, please HaKadosh Baruch Hu, listen to me. It's an amazing thing that the lower that I perceive myself, that means I really have nothing going for me. So how am I going to get answered, HaKadosh Baruch Hu? So I know that without you, I'm not going to get anything. So as a result of that, please, please, I'm begging you, listen to me, Hashem. You have to come to every tefillah as an ani, as a poor man who's knocking on the door. You know, Baruch Hashem, Tarzana has grown over the years. When I moved here 17, 18 years ago, there were no meshulachim that came to your front door. The rabbis that were traveling around from Israel, trying to raise money for their families and their organizations and the yeshivas and the difficulties, they didn't come to Tarzana and knock on the door. Today, Baruch Hashem, your door can knock every single night. And the poor man is standing at the door and he's relying completely upon you. Are you going to have mercy on him or not? Are you going to open the door or not open the door? Now we have big troubles today. We have gates. We have the bird. We have what's the other thing? The ring. Yeah, so we can see, should I answer the door? Should I not answer the door? I'm not in the mood right now. I'm really not in the mood. I had a busy day. I don't want to answer the door. So this man is relying upon the rachamim of every single Jew. Are they going to answer the ring or they're not going to answer the ring? Will they answer the door or they're not going to answer the door? And then if you answer the door, will they write me a check or will they not write me a check? Will it be $6 or $60, $18, $180? I'm relying on mercy. Says Rav Gamliel, the same thing. When we're coming to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we're the poor man knocking on the door. And we're relying only on your mercy, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Are you going to open the gates of salvation? Are you going to listen to what I have to say? Are you going to bring me the Yeshua, the salvation that I need? It's up to you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I don't know. But I do know one thing. If I acknowledge my lowliness, if I acknowledge my humility, if I acknowledge that I really got not much going for myself, and you give me everything already, so I'm just asking you, if I realize that, and I acknowledge that, can you please bend your ear and listen to what I say? Then he says, Hoi sha'avdecha, save your servant. Ante Elokai habaytech elecha, you are the God that I believe, that I trust in. Says Rav Gamliel, Adam habaytech b'Hashem. Another segula, another great thing that a person can do if they want their prayers to be heard. Someone who trusts and relies in Hashem. You are the one that is able to ask Hashem for what you want. In the merit of your midah of bitachon, of trusting and relying in Hashem, Yeshua, you will merit to have salvation. You trust in Hashem, that means you're the address, Hashem. I'm not going to ask you to the right. Even if this is an amazing thing, even if really according to my actions, I deserve to be punished, and I deserve to have all the mess and all the troubles, I deserve it, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Nevertheless, b'schus midas habitachin, in the merit of my bitachin, my trust in you, I'm fit and I'm worthy of being saved and redeemed from all of the evil that's around me. The Midrash says, Afilu Rasha, even a wicked person, but he trusts in Hashem, Chesed Yisevavenu, Chesed will surround him. You can be the biggest Rasha in the world. The Gemara says, even the lowliest thief, before he goes into the house to rob them of all their money and all their riches, he offers a tefillah, a prayer to Hashem. Please, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, let me be matzliach and not get caught by the police. You're a thief. You're robbing from somebody else. You're transgressing one of the big 10. You're a thief. But even the thief prays to Hashem. If he has bitachon, he trusts in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Chesed Yisevavenu, Chesed is going to surround him. And therefore, one of the things that we are asking from HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the following, and that is, Am Beiteach, I trust in you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I believe in you, Hashem. I rely on you, Hashem. I'm not worthy of being answered right now, but in the schus of that bitachon, how many people in the world trust in Hashem? How many? The whole world trusts and believes in themselves, and it's might makes right, and it's the power of the people. And I believe in you, Hashem. I know it's not this movement, and it's not that movement, and it's not this app. It's you, Hashem. So if it's you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and I trust in you so strongly, in the schus of that, in the merit of that, you should answer me, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's the way that a person can daven. That's what he's saying over here. You're my God that I trust in. And in the merit of my trust, I should be answered. My prayer should be answered. Says Rav Hirsch a bit further over here. Chaneni, the third pasuk, Chaneni Hashem, answer me, Hashem, or endow me, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Elecha Ekra Kol Hayom. I call out to you all day long. A person can call out to Hashem all day long, and in the merit of that, that is why HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you should have mercy on me, and you should answer me. Says Rav Gamliel Rabbanovich on these words, Hashem tishma l'kol tefilasi. Hashem, listen to my prayers. B'schus ke'elecha ekra kol hayoyim. Another merit that a person can have, because I'm calling out to you all day long. Since I daven to you every single day, I'll call proud in every single detail of my life. I recognize I have no powers on my own. That's why I should be worthy of you hearing my prayers. I can't do anything. I'm davening to you all day long. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, every day for every little detail, everything that I need, I direct it towards you. So you see how much I believe in you. You see how much I'm davening to you. That should be a thing in and of itself that makes me worthy of being answered. From this verse, we learn a tremendous foundation in prayer. If you daven in this way, you have no power on your own. Okay? We have no power. That's the bottom line. I know it's disappointing to hear, but it's the truth. HaKadosh Baruch Hu runs the world. He's the power of everything. Everything that you need, you have to daven to Hashem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu shomeya l'kol tfilasai. Then HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to listen to the voice of your prayers. If we approach our davening in such a way, I have nothing, I can do nothing. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't want this thing to happen, it's not going to happen anyway. And Ribono Shel Olam, I'm turning to you in that way, then that's another schus, it's another merit that we have, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu can listen to our prayers. So these are already three things that he said. Number one is that a person comes humbly before HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I'm really a nothing, Hashem, and therefore you have to answer me for the fact that I have nothing. Number two, I trust in you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and in the merit of my trust in you, that's why you should answer me. And number three over here, he's saying, since that I realize that I have no power on my own, and there's no way that I'm going to get anything unless it's coming from you, Hashem, therefore you should listen to my tefillos. But then it says, you should, I call out to you all day long. Kol hayom. When Dovid HaMelech, when did he have time to do anything else? He's davening all day long. Says Rav Gamliel Rabinovich, since I daven to you and I supplicate prayers all day long, on this one thing I don't stop. You need something, someone needs parnasa. Don't stop davening for parnasa all day long. A person is sick, they need a refuah. Don't stop davening all day long. A person needs a shidduch, a person needs children, whatever it might be. Don't stop davening all day long. We learn from this the following. The more that you increase your prayers and your supplications of HaKadosh Baruch Hu before Hashem, tiskabel tfilosai lerotzain, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu will accept your prayers happily. Because it shows that we believe in Hashem. And we know that Hashem doesn't always say yes. Just like a kid, he wants so badly to get something from his parents, they don't answer yes right away. Okay, we're the weaker generation, we just want to make our kids happy. Sure, you want? Okay, sure, no problem. Yeah, it's like my older kids always say, gosh, the little ones are so spoiled, they get everything. We never got that, we said no. Okay, it's a different generation. We're older, the kids are younger, it's a different world. But in the real world, we don't always get what we want. We don't. And therefore, we got to keep asking. And that one kid that wants, and he doesn't leave his parents alone. He's screaming and crying. Now, you have parents that are, Baruch Hashem, very strong. No mercy. Doesn't matter what the kid cries. Doesn't matter what they say. Doesn't matter how much they shriek and it goes into their ears, into the heart. Doesn't matter. Kid's not getting anything. But many a parent who has what's called Rachmanis, mercy, if that kid keeps screaming and crying and they don't let up, and some of them have that shriek that just goes right into the ear and straight down to the heart and breaks your heart, eventually a parent can give in. Says Dovid HaMelech, I'm calling out to you all day long, Hashem. I'm like a child. You're not answering me. So I'm going to keep crying again and again and again and again. And says Rav Rabinovich, if you keep davening to Hashem over and over and over again, you increase your tefillos, Tiskabel tefilosai l'ratzon, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is then going to accept your prayers b'ratzon, with happily. He'll give you what it is that you want. Don't stop. Just like that kid that wants the lollipop, he wants the chocolate, he wants to go someplace, whatever he wants. He doesn't like that you made meatballs and spaghetti for dinner. He only wants pizza, that's it. And he's crying and having a tantrum, I can't eat meatballs and spaghetti. And in the end, half an hour later, he's sitting there with a fresh slice of pizza on the table. How did that happen? This is from right over here. From right over here. You think you're spoiling your kid? No, you're being like HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, if you keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, at a certain point, I'm not going to say no to you. And he brings over here famous words of Chazal that Moshe Rabbeinu wanted so badly to go to Eretz Yisrael. He was punished because he hit the rock. He was punished. He showed some anger. Whatever the punishment was for. And Hashem said, now you can't go to Eretz Yisrael. And he begged HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's a parsha called Ve'eschanon, and Ve'eschanon el Hashem be'esai leimor. He was supplicating to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And Chazal learned from there in the Midrash the following: She is palel taf kuf tes vav tfilos. The gematria of Ve'eschanon is 515. That means that what? He davened 515 tefillos. Let me in, I want to go to Eretz Yisrael. Now you imagine the prayers of Moshe Rabbeinu were powerful beyond belief. But Hashem said to Moshe Rabbeinu, Rav lecha, it's enough already. Al toisiv davar elai oid b'davar zeh. Don't say another word of prayer to me, says HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hashem told him to be quiet. Says the Pnei Yeshua, one of the commentaries, She'ilaya mispalo oy tefila achas. If Moshe Rabbeinu would have done one more tefillah, please give me that pizza. Hayanena b'tefilasa, he would have been answered. Hashem would not have been able to say no. Umikachan on the medium, from here we learn how much it has to increase their prayers. Before Hashem. Don't stop. If there's something that you want so badly, don't stop, says Hashem. You can keep davening. Dovid HaMelech is saying it. Dovid HaMelech wasn't a spoiled brat like our children. He was a real Eved Hashem, and he knew that the key to your tefillah being heard is you just keep going and going and going and going, and don't take no for an answer. And if you continue to add and you increase on your prayers, Hashem eventually, He's going to say yes, Bez Hashem. So if he didn't say yes yet, it just means we didn't daven hard enough. And we didn't say enough. And not enough Tehillim, not enough cries, not enough begging, not enough pleading. Just keep going and going and going. And that's what he's saying over here. Ekra kol hayom, I call out to you all day long, Hashem. Anyone davening all day long? No, we're too busy. But if you would call out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu all day long, like that little kid that only wants that candy, he wants the lollipop, he wants the chocolate, he wants the pizza, he wants the ice cream. No. Okay, I can't say no anymore. Fine. After 1 hour of the tantrum, screaming. Okay, I'll give it to you. Says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you're asking for a child? You're asking for a child? How can I say no to you if you're begging for 3 years straight? How can I say no to you? You're asking for a shidduch, you're 26 years old, you don't have a shidduch, but you're begging, how can I say no to you? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is spoiling us? No, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is showing us that's the power of tefillah. The power of tefillah is it opens up, it triggers reactions in Shemayim of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's mercy when He sees that we are humbled and we trust in HaKadosh Baruch Hu and we realize everything is coming from Him and we daven HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He says, you know what? You deserve it. Amietz Hashem, we're just getting our feet wet in this Tehillim over here. So much more to see. It should be a chizuk in our personal prayers that we offer to Hashem.